a first year student in electronical engineering at BITS Hyderabad. My question was, we often hear the notion that we should respect elders. But when it comes to the elders, for example, in my family, every family has some sort of problems. And I get to know some things about them. After that, I don't feel like I should respect them because those actions weren't right. So if I don't respect them, the society hates me and I get scolding for that. But if I do respect them, I feel bad. So shouldn't we respect behavior instead of just respecting elders? And is the notion that we should always respect elders correct?
What do you mean by respect, first thing?
Like talking politely, talking properly.
No, talking politely and talking properly is something you should anyway unconditionally do, right? Even if you are talking to a crime convict, you do not want to be particularly impolite, do you?
No.
So, politeness and propriety, these are not things that are first of all dependent upon something else, and secondly, these are not very intimately connected to respect. What is respect?
Respect is having a genuine appreciation inside me of that person. I feel, for example,
Valuing that person highly. Yeah.
Valuing that person highly, but after knowing such things,
So it's all right. It's all right if you clearly see that a fellow has very little that can be highly valued. There is no compulsion at all to accord a high importance or high value to him or her. There is no need at all. We need to probably widen or deepen the question a little. Before I assess or value somebody, do I first of all know for myself what is valuable? Because you see, you too are demonstrating your value system when you say that if you do not respect people, elders in particular, then you are frowned at or looked down upon. So you are valuing something here. What are you valuing? You are valuing acceptance, and you do not want to lose that acceptance. Hence you are raising this question. Do you see what I am saying? You are saying there are people who do not deserve your respect, so you do not demonstrate respect. When you do not demonstrate respect, then a lot of people do not look at you favorably. They think you are some kind of a rascal or renegade, and you do not like that. Hence this question. Now you value the fact or the possibility that you need to be liked, accepted and loved, and when that love or acceptance is withdrawn by the others because they think that you are being disrespectful to elders, you do not like it, right? So here it is a demonstration of your own value system. What does your value system say? It is valuable, it is important to be liked and accepted by others. Otherwise, if you are just being true to your own independent, honest assessment of people, then why do you need to worry about how the people will respond once you honestly demonstrate what you think of them? Are you getting it? Let's learn what is valuable in life, and behaviors containing basic etiquette or politeness, courtesy, they should not be dependent on what a person's worth is, irrespective of the worth of a person, just by the dint of being a human being. Everybody deserves some consideration, basic politeness. So that I suppose you could grant unconditionally. But when it comes to other things in life, you must have a very, very solid standard of values, solid and universal, in the sense that there should be no double speak, no hypocrisy. The same yardstick you use to measure your own worth must be applied to others as well. You cannot hold yourself in high esteem and look down on others if you and the others are fundamentally the same. What is worth valuing in life? Be it an elder, a younger one, a professor, a peon, doesn't matter. What is it that you want to value in life? From what you have said, from your rebellious expression, there is one great thing I could gather. First of all, age is not the fundamental determinant of value. You cannot say somebody has age on his side, her side, therefore he deserves to be valued. It's not so arithmetical. Otherwise, at the age of 20, you just need to wait to let your age multiply, and the day you become 60, you are already thrice as respectable. So, that sounds foolish, right? So age cannot be a determinant. What else can be used to determine the worth of a person?
It's usually the behavior, the actions, how they interact with people, how they go about their life.
Can we get deeper into that?
For example, if there is a 20-year-old person who works in NGOs, who does a lot for society, who has a really positive way of talking to everybody and is polite to me, I would respect him a lot.
But may I just? But we just said that politeness is something we must anyway unconditionally extend to everybody, right? So politeness really cannot be a strong determinant. What can be a clear determinant or a set of determinants? How do we know somebody is actually respectable?
If he's kind, and I think basic kindness.
Kindness, huh? So that's a good one, nice. See, the moment you start going deeper into it, right, you will fumble and struggle a little. So that's all right. In fact, that's a good indicator that now you are probing something new. When you probe something new, then you cannot come up with quick ready-made answers, right? So you will struggle a little, and that is great, right? So you said kindness. Kindness is a great thing, right? Some people also call it compassion. Wonderful. So you respect someone according to her depth of compassion, and you look for that, and that is not always visible in behavioral patterns of the kind we are used to, because you have used the term behavior 3 or 4 times, hence I am emphasizing. Compassion is something subtle, it sits in the heart. Behavior can be manipulated. You can design your behavior to make it look respectable, to make it look kind, but behavior that exudes a a figure, a semblance of kindness need not actually be arising from a point of kindness. But we all know what kindness looks like. Therefore, it is easy to put on behavior that looks like kindness. So, you are on the money when you say that kindness is valuable, but you must also strive to know what real kindness is. And kindness is not always of the face that you see in the movies or in fiction or in general culture. In general, how do you spot a kind person?
For example, there's a dog on the road and he's hurt, so somebody is giving him biscuits or like taking him to the hospital if he's sick, or helping people around them.
Right, great. So, let us extend this example. So, this fellow picks up the dog, takes him to the example, and the doctor says the dog is weak. The doctor is weak, the dog is weak. So, this fellow goes and gets fresh chicken to feed the dog. Now, what happened to your example?
Yeah. I understood how, like, understanding how a person is kind or not is a very broad thing. It's not that easy to judge a person.
Right. So, behavior can be deceptive, patterns can be put on. We as intelligent beings must take care not to be deceived by patterns and behaviors and such superficial things. Right. So, kindness is one thing. What else do you think is valuable in life?
I'm struggling to find something right now.
But then you are very eager to take away respect from people, without knowing what is respectable.
What the context that I had behind the question was, for example, there's a person in my family who abused me as a child, and now
So now, may I please? So now here you already know what is not respectable.
Yeah.
What is not respectable?
Like abusing someone and
broaden that, being exploitative.
yeah.
So you have someone in front of you who is not strong enough or developed enough to resist your gruesome advances, and you are taking advantage of the kid's position. Need not necessarily be a kid. Could be an animal, could be a grown up, could be a 90-year-old disabled woman, no, and doesn't want to take care of her, rather is seeking part of her, let us say, property. It is much the same thing, no? Being exploitative. So, being exploitative is not good. If someone is exploitative, we have no obligation to value that person highly. This is called having inner clarity. Otherwise, we all have just a haze of feelings. So, we roughly know, we vaguely know, but there is no clarity. So now you have some clarity on that. If somebody is exploitative, I will not respect him, irrespective of his designation, age, relationship to me, whatever. Equally, if being exploitative is so disrespectful, what is it that deserves respect? What is the opposite of being exploitative?
Helping.
Being generous.
Being generous, being
large hearted, being magnanimous. If I see someone of that kind, then I'll offer my unconditional respect. But the thing is tricky. Seeing kindness, I am repeating, is not always simple, because kindness will not always take the forms we are used to. Equally, exploitation will not always take the forms we are used to. The form that you are referring to is very obvious, very gross. A kid being exploited by an elder. Here it is obvious what is happening. But then there are far more numerous and subtler, very hidden ways of being exploitative, and we do not even detect exploitation taking place, and so we continue to offer respect. No? So, to determine who is respectable, what is respectable, one needs to be attentive to life. Otherwise, your respect and disrespect will all come from a nebulous point within, a vague kind of feeling. You will just feel this person is not good, and you will say, oh, this is my intuition or my instinct, but that is no good. You need to have clarity, not intuition or instinct. Intuitions and instincts are for animals. They have nothing but instincts. As human beings, we need intelligence, not instincts. No? So you need to think about these things. Before we close, maybe a couple of more examples of things or traits that are respect worthy.
Some people who distribute stuff among like young kids, and the people who work in Anganwadis, the people who like sponsor education for children who are not able to do that on their own, and people who help others with people with.
Yes, you are very nicely covering that dimension, the dimension of kindness. Can we move a little to the other dimensions as well?
I can't think of something.
So you have a batchmate who has come from a very remote and ill-served part of the country, from a disadvantaged section of the society, and he could still somehow clear the entrance exam and make it to your place, your campus. And then there is someone who is coming from a metro city, from a good, affluent, upper middle class family, had the benefits of all kinds of training and coaching and good food and vehicles and what not. You see what I am going towards?
The difference between their lifestyle.
Yes, so what really is respectable? That's what I want to come to.
I am a bit confused right now.
The heart to strive against odds, for obviously a just cause, that is respectable. Not so much one's place in life, but the odds one conquered to come to that place. Are you getting it? Typically, students who come from these far-flung places do not belong very well to the campus. They remain on the margins, right? because their culture is different. They do not get that much of acceptability and respect. Whereas, if you think clearly, those are the ones who deserve greater respect, because fighting against challenges is something we must value. Do you agree?
Yes, I definitely agree on that.
Someone who gets things easily in life is all right, we have no grudges. But someone who fought his way against difficult odds to achieve something worthwhile is surely someone who deserves a salute. So have an eye for that. And often it also happens that such students, at least initially, do not perform very well in the campus. So if you just look at their performance, they will probably belong to the middle rungs or even to the lower strata of grades. But one of them, having a CGPA of 6 or 6.5, is probably doing better than a Delhiite or Mumbaikar having a CGPA of 8 or 9. How does it work in your campus? Is it CGPA percentage?
It's CGPA.
CGPA on a scale of 10. Okay. So where you are is not always a very definite indicator. Just as we said that your behavior itself is not a very definite indicator. Similarly, your place too is not a very definite indicator. You have to see where the thing is coming from, be it the behavior or the person. Where is the person coming from? Now, coming from a point like that, if that person could perform this way, then I value this, I respect this. Right? Then there is a word called conviction, being true to oneself. Being true to oneself. There is hardly anybody who does not know anything about life, or there is hardly anybody who is totally wrong in his or her view of life. None of us are totally right either, but at least some measure of goodness we all have. The idea of goodness, that is, we know what goodness is like, and still we fail to live up to our own concept of goodness. We know what is right, we know what is valuable, and yet we do not act as per our own standards, right? So conviction, which is very intimate to integrity, is something very, very valuable. Is this person living up to herself? We are not talking of standards set by others, we are talking of your own inner standards. Are you true to yourself? If you do not know a thing, it's probably all right, you are ignorant. But the problem with most people is not so much in their ignorance, it lies in their lack of integrity, hypocrisy. You know, and yet you do not live that way. So have an eye for that. See who is living his life as per his truth. I am not talking of the absolute truth here, I am talking of your own truth. There is nobody who has no concept, no personal concept of the truth. That personal concept is often flawed, I agree, but it does exist. It does exist and is very useful. It is useful because it helps you move beyond itself. But only if you first of all live up to your concept of truth. Most people do not do that. See that. See that, and when you find it somewhere, do not hold yourself back. Right? Then there is a thing called depth of love, which is sincerity. Right? Being attracted towards something, somebody, some ideal, anything is one thing, and remaining true to it over long periods against challenges is another thing. Now, can you spot that and respect that? Then there is, yes, wonderful. Then there is courage. Even if you know what is the right thing to do, there is always a price to pay. And most people just do not have the integrity to pay the price, the audacity to give up on their established and comfortable patterns of life. And where you find someone heartfully paying the price, respect that. It's no mean thing. It requires a lot, and very few people live up to their love. Right? So these are the things, rather some of the things that are valuable. And wherever you find these, it's time to bow down, to get close, and to learn. Of what use is respect if it just involves token behavior? You go to someone and say, oh, I respect you so much, and you fold your hands, or you offer obeisance, does not mean much. The moment you say you respect something or somebody, it is then incumbent on you to first of all get close. If something is worthy enough, why are you still distant? Get close and learn. Get close to rise. If something is respectable, it is higher than you. If it is higher than you, use that thing to get higher. Right? Anything more you want to add to it?
No, this actually gave me a lot of clarity. Like, my concept of respect was quite short and it broadened. So
I'm glad.
thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Acharya,
Ji.
a follow-up question on that. Generally, respect is not like one label on a person, right? It's more of a phased manner. Like we might see his actions are respectable at some times, and we might also see that at other times the actions are not respectable. You also spoke about unconditional politeness. I would like to understand that a bit more. So, especially in the family circumstances, in the relatives and all, right? I have seen elder people, all ages, without any age bar and all. I have seen they are not courageous to take certain steps. They are not very conviction on their own truth, as you mentioned. I see that they respect certain things, but they don't stand for it. They do not pay the needed. I wanted to know, like, when I see people who are not able to, stand on their own conviction, and they are kind at one place, but they are, in like they do donations, but they kill animals. They donate to orphanages, but they don't take care of old people. When I see all this, right, it becomes very difficult to be polite to them. So I would like to understand how this unconditional politeness comes when we see someone is not worth respecting.
No, I just said unconditional. I didn't say infinite. Unconditional but finite. I would be the last person to talk of infinite politeness. Huh? Why do you want to put that kind of blame on me? Acharya Prashant talking of politeness. That's very sensational, isn't it?
Just trying to get the clarity so that I didn't miss what you're about to say.
No. I'm talking of basic courtesy. Even if you have to strongly put a point across, one need not degrade his manners or language beyond a point. No? I'm not talking of prostrating and kissing somebody's feet or not raising one's voice even if that is actually needed. So I'm not talking of that. I was just trying to communicate that basic decency must at least be the point one begins from. Aesthetics must not be compromised with beyond a point, right? And even if that compromise has to be made, there has to be a strong enough reason, and that must be after a due period of tolerance and giving the benefit of doubt. Even if I have clearly seen that you are coming from a disrespectable point, a point that just cannot be accepted, still I cannot begin the conversation by shouting at you, right? So I said unconditional but not infinite. Their limits have to be there, right? I do not want us to label people as unworthy or not respectable, and therefore give ourselves a free hand to indulge in unseemly behavior. That was my point. You just label someone as unworthy, and then all the time you allow yourself to shout or demean, and that's not right. That's not right, right? A certain tolerance has to be there. Even if you do see quite clearly that the fellow is coming from an improper place, still to begin with give the person some benefit of doubt. Maybe our assessment is flawed, who knows? So after keeping all those allowances, then one should decide whether change in behavior is needed, right? There is a danger, Balaji, in all this. We do not want to become what we call as holier than thou. That sanctimonious attitude that a lot of so-called spiritual people carry. I am the holy one, I am the one with piety, with piousness, and you are an insect of hell. So my default mode is to look down upon everybody, all and sundry. I am the holy soul and the entire world is a sinner. So I arrogate myself the right to shout, to demean, sometimes to even hit. Don't we know history? Don't we know what kinds of crimes have been committed in the name of holiness and rightness, in the name of defending virtue and property. People have become exploitative, and we lose all touch with reality. We do not even realize that it's just the ego talking loud through our piousness. So that was all that I wanted to communicate. That was all.
And the another one I generally respect is the person's readiness to learn.
Wonderful, wonderful.
As you said, when especially when I see elders, right, they would have sealed themselves so much that they wouldn't want to even question their their philosophy of life, or at least sit and discuss about it, or have such conversation. So when such things are seen, right, it becomes very difficult to even converse with them.
I agree, fully agree, fully agree, fully agree. Maybe had the conversation been a bit longer with the friend we had, we could have added this one to the list and given it a high position. Humility and the availability to learn, the receptiveness to change. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, of course. I think this is an exercise every sentient person must do for himself. Sit down and make a list of what you think is worthy in life. That reminds me of my teenage years. This question used to reverberate: what is important? And I just couldn't get over it. This question was constantly there in my mind. What is important? What can we call as important? That I now realize was the beginning of the formation of an independent value system. I wanted to inquire what is valuable. I think that's something that would help all of us. That's an exercise grown-ups must do. That's a chapter that must be there in school books, in college books. What is important, and let each person figure out for himself or herself what is important. At least let there be clarity. That list is anyway open to amendment. You can add to the list later on, you can strike out a few things, but at least write down so that you know for yourself what is it you are living by.
Thank you.